Varying your language is one of the most important things you can do as an advanced English learner. But it's also quite tricky because how do you know which synonym is suitable for the intermediate word you've been using for years?
It's a tricky thing, and a lot of times you need a native speaker to kind of walk you through all of those different synonyms so you know when to use them and when not to use them in different contexts.
That's what we're doing today. We are going to take good, one of the most overused words in English, and we're going to give you a ton of different synonyms that you can use that are just more suitable. But it's dependent upon context, and it's dependent upon what meaning of good you want to do. You can even do a quick search right now. Open up another tab in your browser, search good, and see all those different definitions in there. That's what we're going to talk you through today.
Let's get to it. What's up, guys, and welcome to Why Grow Friends English. We are discussing good and good things today.
That's good.
That is great, isn't it? It's awesome. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think you get the point. So there's a lot of different synonyms that you can use for good, but like she said at the beginning, they are context dependent. They depend on the context. So let's just jump right in with a good meaning okay. Like it's up to par. It's fine. So for example, you might use this in a context, a person asking you, how's it going? And you say, I'm good.
Or it's going good. What it means when we say that culturally, by the way, it doesn't mean like things are awesome. It just means it's okay, which in English, okay is just a very flat term. It doesn't really mean anything. I remember in Asia, they would often say so-so. That's not actually a term we use very often in English, but that's kind of the meaning. Just okay. Just very flat answer. It's not better, it's not worse. In a way, we can use good in this way because it's so overused, it's just lost its meaning in this context that good just means fine.
Par, satisfactory, acceptable. Like it's not like above and beyond. Whatever grade in a class that you think is passing.
Yeah.
Like that's the grade you got. Like that's boom, I got it.
That's what it is.
For me, it was B's.
Wow. We can also say an idiom. I can't complain. It's kind of the same idea as, I can't complain. It's okay today. It's not good, not bad, just it's a day. So that means good as well. Those are all appropriate synonyms for this context. Another synonym here is all right. I'm feeling all right today.
Another thing that you could use good for is you can describe the quality of something. So instead of saying this is a good jacket, you could say something like it's top notch or high quality or superb or excellent. It's saying it's above the rest. Already we have these two words meaning one's par and one's excellent. One has high quality and one is just plain.
Fair.
It's just it works. And these two are the closest together. Most of the others are going to refer to a very specific context. So just stick with us here.
Food that you just described. Oh yeah, it's so good. Okay, you can add a lot more color to that very easily. So you could say something like it's yummy or it's tasty, but you can also say it's delicious or mouth-watering, or you can even say that it's rich. If you're referring to the depth of flavor, then you would say it is very rich. Okay, we like to use this with like dark chocolates. Dark chocolate cake that's actually like has a lot of effort put into it. Mostly we use this with sweets. We can talk about a very rich sauce put onto a cheesecake or something, or cheesecake we would consider as very rich. So all of those are great ways to use this.
Another context you might find this word good is skilled at doing something. For example, you might say he's a capable carpenter. He's a capable plumber.
You can also say he's adept if he's good at doing carpentry for multiple different things. So if he's a good carpenter for carving hand toys, but he's also good at creating bookshelves, but he's also good at working on chairs and things that are much more complicated. We would say he's an adept carpenter because he's skilled at different realms inside carpentry.
Another way you could describe a person who is good at doing something is they're seasoned, meaning that they have been doing the same thing for a long time. So they have a lot of wisdom in that area. Whether it is carpentry or something else, you're really describing the length of time that they have done this skill.
And that experience that they've gained from all those years, just honing in their skills. That's where you would hear a seasoned chef. That's great because it's also a pun, because seasonings, chefs season things, but it's also meaning like their years of cooking has really bolstered their skills.
The next couple are kind of go together. Skillful and gifted to describe a person's skill in doing something. They are really good at playing piano. They're a gifted pianist, or they're a skilled or skillful pianist because they can play really difficult pieces, for example.
Right. Gifted has this idea of it comes to you naturally, whereas skillful, somebody can learn those skills. It may mean that they are naturally gifted at it, but it could also mean that they just learned it. Like they had 0 skills in it before and they've learned those skills. But gifted definitely has this idea of talented in a way of, yes, they've been taught, they've learned some things, but they also have just this natural, I don't know, just something about the personality or who they are. It just makes it so much easier for them to be gifted in a certain skill set.
So the next context you might find is really meaning useful. This kind of meaning of good is like just saying that the thing it gives the person overall is a good effect on the person. So whether it's, making them healthier or stronger or nourished or something like that, something where it's giving them a good state or state of being.
Yeah. So we can say beneficial. It means it brings many benefits. We would either specify it by saying it's beneficial to your gut health, or we could say it's beneficial for you overall. You also have this idea of nutritious in a way. You could say it's nutritious to your soul, it's nutritious to your mind, it's nutritious to your body and health. We mean this for your body, your physical body. It's nutrition for your body.
Another way to describe it is like wholesome. So maybe it's for your mind or for your emotions, just for your whole psyche as a person, to say a wholesome TV show for kids.
The next one that we're going to talk about is the definition of good, meaning it's suitable. It's appropriate for something. So it's appropriate for American football, or it's appropriate for education.
Suitable, meaning it fits that specific context. So instead of saying it's good for that context, you can say it's suitable for that context.
Yeah, you can also say appropriate. That's okay. You can also say fitting. It is fitting for the time. It is fitting for the play. It is fitting for a kid his age. Okay, all of that is totally fine, and a much more descriptive way than to just say good.
So when it's not just suitable for something, it's not just like satisfying the requirements. Sometimes it carries the idea of more favorable or advantageous place to be. So for example, one brand of fishing pole is more favorable than the other. I'm not just saying that it's good. I'm saying that it is a step above. It is favorable in this context for that reason. So, for example, you might say it's advantageous for us to have a truck instead of a car because of all of the reasons. You're comparing two things. This one is better.
The truck is more favorable. The next one is good in the sense of something having just moral virtue. It's in essence, the essence of what it is. It's just moral and right and good. Okay. So we have other words for this. Well, there's a lot of words for this actually. You have virtuous. You could say that person is a virtuous person. It means they walk by virtue. They live by virtue. That's a great and very high compliment actually to give. And it's a lot more suitable than good. Because what do you mean? Is they're a good person? Do you mean they're a fine person? They're an okay person? Do you mean they're a funny person? Do you mean they're a virtuous person? A morally good person? Like, what do you mean? There's so many definitions of good. So you can specify, be much more specific, and just be a lot more fluent by using these other forms. There's a lot to unpack with this. You don't have to use all these other synonyms, but it is good to use them.
A couple of other ways to describe this are moral and upright. So it's a person who has good moral standing. They're a solid individual.
You can also have an upstanding person, or you can have a law-abiding person even. This good, in a virtuous sense, can mean that they obey the law, and they do so to a T. They do so very well. So in this sense, law-abiding citizen, that's a one way to use that, would be, yeah, they follow the law. They keep to the rules, and they do what's expected of them.
And the last ways to describe a good person is to say that they're an honest person or a trustworthy person. Both of these just meaning that they keep their word, that they are true to their word, that they hold that in high esteem, so they don't tell falsehoods, they don't lie, they tell the truth.
The next one that we have for you is when good means showing kindness. It means a person is just so kind. You can say kind-hearted here. You could say generous or charitable if they are kind because they always give and they give sacrificially. You can even say gracious in that they forgive people when they do something wrong to them. Another one is selfless. If they're just good because they are always giving of themselves, not just money, not just things, but they give their time. This would mean selfless.
Absolutely what I think of when I think of like a good person, or a person that has a good job, but not meaning money, but like a selfless kind of job where they do a lot of work even outside of the work that they do. like teachers.
Yeah, like how are they good? That's how what you want to answer with picking the synonym that you'll use to replace it.
So another context that you would use good in is obedient. So you think of a good dog. Instead of saying a good dog, what does that mean? Is he a useful dog to you? Or in this context, what it means is well-behaved. So you could say well-behaved or well-mannered.
You can even say obedient in this case. Now, if you're talking about a person, you don't want to say they're an obedient person or a well-mannered person. Maybe you can get away with that with kids.
Yeah.
Don't say that about an adult. But what you can say is you could say they are polite or they are respectful. Those are definitely okay to talk about a person. You can also say courteous in this sense, meaning very similar thing. They're a very courteous person. They're very thoughtful of others. That's a good way to use it as well.
Yeah, it's like there's some like social rules that are outstanding of the either dog or child or whatever, and they are following those rules extremely well.
All right, so this meaning of good is to give pleasure, okay? And it's just something that's pleasurable, enjoyable, or satisfying to in some way. One of my favorite synonyms for this is actually peachy. Like, how was your day today? And if I mean enjoyable, not just fine, not just excellent, I'm very content with it, I'm very satisfied with my day, there's been a lot of good things in it, then I might say, yeah, it's just peachy. And yes, that is peach with a Y on the end. Why? Because peaches are tasty, I guess. I don't know why we say this, but that's one of my favorite synonyms for this.
You can also use something like pleasant or delightful. So for example, the weather has been pleasant or the weather has been delightful. It's enjoyable. Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. It's been awesome.
Or lovely, even. That's a good way to put it. The last category we want to address with you are clothes, because some people say, yeah, I want to put on my good clothes. Okay, but what does that mean? Sometimes it means your Sunday best. In American culture, especially in the South, there's a lot of people that grew up in this church culture where you put on your best clothes for Sunday, and we called it our Sunday best. So if somebody's talking about their good clothes, if they're from the American South and they grew up going to church, they might say, I'm putting on my Sunday best. That means they're good clothes, basically. Yeah.
I think of like some other people that they have like different pairs of jeans, for example. They have work jeans and then they have good jeans. Like their good jeans turn into work jeans and then their work jeans turn into rags. So those would be my good jeans, the ones that I bought like a couple weeks ago.
You could say your dressy jeans, right? We'll say that. Not formal. We don't really have formal jeans in America, but you can have formal clothes. Okay, these are going to be thicker. They're going to be much nicer, much higher quality. We would call these formal clothes for formal wear, formal events, things like that, like a wedding.
In that same way, you might describe those clothes as he's dressed smart or smartly.
Especially for men.
Yeah.
We used to use it with women as well, but nowadays we tend to use like a smart dressed man.
Yeah.
Probably because of the song.
Or finely dressed.
Yeah, you could have somebody who's finely dressed. But dressy is probably the most common for women. Yeah. And I would say maybe smart dressed man for men. Fancy Fridays, and they're dressing dressy. I just realized we could say that. So one of the things I want you to understand from all of these synonyms is you don't have to change good. We do overuse good still in informal conversation and all the time. If your English is at the point where you are using good day in and day out for all of these different meanings and you want to express what you mean more specifically, you just don't have the words, this video is for you. But if you are just very casual speaker and you don't care, you don't mind that you don't have another way to say it, or you can find a way to make yourself more specific in other ways, then yeah, use good. That's okay. We tend to overuse good still as English speakers, but we have a choice as well. I regularly use these other synonyms, and that's why I picked them specifically for you guys, is because in these different meanings, in certain contexts, it would be more important to be specific in what I mean, whether I'm trying to deliver a more specific compliment that's not just overused, or whether I am trying to specify one thing over another, how something is good specifically, whether it's in its quality or in a dog's obedience or whatever it is. Good is a very flexible word, but unfortunately it waters down a lot of language, and especially your writing. If you are trying to write well in English, you've got to use synonyms and you've got to be more specific, because precise writing is respected much more than just good writing. You know, writing that's very repetitive. So one of the easiest ways to elevate your English writing and to be more specific in what you mean, what you really want to say, is to use these synonyms.
Another great part of all these synonyms is that they help us link together different meanings across various contexts. So that's what's amazing about words. It's not just that a word is a word, it's that it's linked to various contexts. And you can get that by looking at the synonyms. You don't get that by just looking at the word good. Even good in different sentences. What are you trying to say there? What is the meaning that you're trying to convey? Because as we've been diving deep into this word, we've found that we mean very different things when we say good. Is it good as in fine, or good as in like excellent or amazing or yummy or tasty? All of these things can be different, and you would miss out on the connection that's drawn between the two contexts without that word good.
Essentially, it's like going from watching black and white TV to colored TV. That's essentially what adding all of these synonyms does for your language. So if you really want to get deeper and you want to communicate more precisely, more accurately, and more colorfully, learn these synonyms and create an advanced synonym network with the skills that we've taught in this video right here, how to broaden your English.
All right, guys, so that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.